All right, everyone, we should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case over on Rumble. Of course, I do see that plenty of people are piling into the live chat. It's news time. We've got lots of news to talk about, not all of which is terribly pleasant. We've got the United States bishops decrying in vitro fertilization. IVF big in the news right now due to the Alabama law. We'll be talking about that. I personally don't have a problem with in vitro fertilization. And I'm not sure why the more moralistic tend towards right wing wants to die on this particular hill, but we'll be analyzing that partially from a political perspective, actually. Portugal, we've got better news, which is that CHEGA has risen up really, really well there. The populists have risen up and become one of the larger parties. Their party is only about a half a decade old, so they've managed to accomplish quite a bit with their win there. It's not clear that the government of Portugal will actually be functional, though, because it looks like nobody's actually going to be able to form a stable coalition. I mean, in Europe, you tend to have coalitional governments with multiple parties sort of pulling together. It's not like the United States, where you've got the same exact dysfunction, but you've got effectively a two-party system. It's very interesting. So CHEGA winning big there unexpectedly. Haiti has collapsed. I think I've got some sort of fuzzy thing there. It's distracting me. Haiti is basically collapsed. There is no longer a functional government capable of maintaining order in the nation of Haiti. So we'll be talking about that. It didn't help that the Clinton Foundation decided to show up. All of those houses the Red Cross was supposed to build, where are they? Nobody knows. We've got DEI woes here by Olivia Krolzik. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. And there's a little bit of nuance in that particular opinion piece, so we'll be getting into that too. Woolly mammoth de-extinction, which is something that I am very, very much obsessed with. I think de-extinction is a good thing. I think that bringing back dinosaurs would be great. The only thing, of course, is bring back multiple members of the species, please, so that they can socialize and have their little dinosaur time. Of course, a woolly mammoth not being a dinosaur, but close enough. It's a first step. I, too, want to drill into amber, extract DNA, and revive dinosaurs. Yes, I think that Jurassic Park is not a dystopian movie at all. When I was a kid, it inspired me. I was like obsessed with entomology, right? Then I saw Jurassic Park. I'm like, maybe I want to become a geneticist. Of course, technology has not advanced far enough, unfortunately, to bring back the Tyrannosaurus Rex. I would love to have a pet Tyrannosaurus Rex, and you would love to have one, too. Don't fucking deny it. I don't care about the moral ramifications. And then campus gardening initiatives can help grow the next generation of environmental change makers. I don't give a fuck about that, but I do agree with making campus gardens. Yeah, so we'll be talking about that. By the way, right now, if I look outside, it looks like it's the middle of January, actually. We're getting some of what we call sugaring snow. In March, in Vermont, typically, it goes in like a lion and comes out like a lamb. So for the first couple of weeks in March, you're going to get this shit. And it's not blizzard conditions, but it's a pretty heavy snow, and it's still falling pretty well. I think they've got about 5 inches out there or something. It'll melt off, though, within a couple of days. By the way, my co-host is now a vegetable, so my co-host is Joe Biden. By the way, on the issue of velociraptors, they actually were rather diminutive. The Jurassic Park velociraptors are more like the, I think it was called the Deinonychus, if I remember correctly. They were larger. Velociraptors were actually more like those little ones that you see in the second Jurassic Park movie, the little ones that eat that girl up. And then there's that hilarious scene where the mother is screaming, and then it's just Ian Malcolm there yawning in the subway station. That was a very, very good movie, by the way. Very underrated, the second Jurassic Park. Third one was overrated for some reason. The ending of that sucked dick. Mike the Wapo, oh, good morning. I hope you, your family, and your garden are well. The garden currently, the snow crop is coming in very well. The other crops, not so much. I'm not sure that catnip's going to make it, but it's pretty hardy, so, I mean, it should survive. Swamp Donkey, did you see Brandon Herrera made it to the runoff? Let's go, Brandon 24. Yes, I did indeed. Not just a string. Happy Bitcoin ATH sticks. Clank for the slayer of money printers. Hashtag not financial advice. Yes, we do not give financial advice on this channel. Billy Howard. Trump is cutting his own throat in yesterday's post praising the vax and, can I say that on YouTube? Saying, if I'm quoting him, I think I can. Saying that it attacks cancers when in fact it does something else, the inverse of curing cancer. What the fuck? Your thoughts? I think it's a response to Joe Biden. In his State of the Union, he said, well, the vaccine rolled out, we saved lots of lives, and now it's being retooled to cure cancer. That's been a repeat theme in his particular presidential bid, that Biden intends to cure cancer. So far, 0% success rate. I have a feeling that's some tongue-in-cheek. Alan Tenay's, I heard Haiti was taken over by humanitarians. No, it's been taken over by cannibals, unfortunately. We will be discussing that. By the way, before I get into the news, let's shout out our merch partners. We have pumpkinfirecrafts.us. You can get some Stick, Sex, and Hammer merch there. All right, move over a little bit to the side, dude. I mean, come on. It's my spot. I got some good shit to show off, by the way. We've got pumpkinfirecrafts.us. You can get amulets. That's what I call them. Also, bookmarks, keychains, and belt chains from them, with or without Stick, Sex, and Hammer logoing on them. We've got BiltongUSA.com. Again, use code STICKS. You can get delicious meat from Anton, or AntonsUSA.com, of course. And you can also get some other cool shit as well. We've got Stick, Sex, and Hammer mugs, shirts, and tumblers. We have wickedneedleembroidery.bigcartel.com, where you can get Stick, Sex, and Hammer hats, which people begged for. And it's like, geez, this has to be expedited. They're well made. They are fun. HeritageHeirloomSeedCompany.com. That's where you can get the Seed Survival Bucket soap coming soon. I have contacted them about making a specific sticks blend for soap. I'm also in talks with a couple of other people for some proprietary stuff, so stay tuned. There will be more partners soon. And finally, Webster'sWares.com, also /sticks-wares. That's coming soon. You can pre-order now. You can get some Trump apparel. This hat came from them, the flag, and so forth. And so, yeah, get some Trump merch, get some good meat, get a bookmark, read a good book, and then settle in and plant your garden. We've got it all. Recession proof. Hey, Sticks, the real violent gang is Izzo. Google Izzo Haiti, not Barbecue. Yeah, no, Barbecue sounds like a pretty cool dude. I mean, he's got the coolest fucking nickname. I think he adapted it from Long John Silver, actually. Which is hilarious. Literal Pirates of the Caribbean. No, I would eat with barbecue. The problem is that the main menu would probably be human flesh. Alvman, howdy, not plugging Alvman or at just the AR platform. Thank you anyways, lol. So he's plugging himself there. I know your tricks. If you pay me, I will plug anything that won't get me arrested or banned. Jason Scholler, Sticks, what am I supposed to do? New Hampshire is being taken over by libs. Stand your ground. Yeah, literally. I don't think New Hampshire is going to go far left anytime soon. Certainly not on the gun issue. Steve H sent $4.99. No comment. Thank you very much. BWOO. Sticks. Dinosaurs could kill entire cities. Plus, how much would you have to spend to feed one of those things? Did you hear the DOJ is going after states with voter ID? Yeah, they're trying to sue a bunch of states right now to try to honk fortify the 24 election. They appear to be meeting with limited success on that. I don't care if the dinosaurs kill the cities. I mean, who cares? Unleash a half a dozen T-Rexes in San Francisco, and I think that society might improve. Sir Thomas Drake. I've been watching you at home so often for so long, my wife assumes all the content creators I watch are just different versions of you. Justin Wang is Pretty Asian Sticks. Tim Pool is Beanie Sticks. I like this. Your wife sounds fun. Mike the Wapo O. I've been finding biltong at grocery stores throughout my travels. Why does Anton's require refrigeration? All the stuff I see is on the shelf like jerky. Well, I mean, I think he makes it proper. I think that what you're seeing is something that's billed as biltong, pun intended, while not actually being biltong. But Anton does it best, so I'm just going to stick with him. Anyway, we'll be talking about some news topics now. IVF in focus. I personally don't have a problem with IVF. I don't understand why anyone would. It helps with fertility issues and so forth. And there are couples that, under normal circumstances, they simply can't get pregnant. Somebody has cancer, and so they store their eggs, embryos rather, and then they wait till they're healthy. Hopefully they recover. It's a medical necessity for millions of people, and I don't understand any kerfuffle over it. The problem is that the right wing is poor at messaging. They weren't trying to ban IVF. I realize, by the way, to those who will inevitably call me out, I realize that the state of Alabama was not trying to hazard the ability to get in vitro fertilization. But with their bill with regards to personhood, they inadvertently hazarded the ability to get IVF, leaving IVF providers open to lawsuits. They had to, relatively recently, I think this was 2 days ago, they had to pass an additional bill giving immunity to IVF clinics so they could continue operating. They had shut down their services for a while there, leaving their fate in question. IVF was not being seriously challenged by the right. I know that. But by God, you've got to use a little bit of strategy and messaging in the decisions that you make, the laws that you pass, and the judiciary handings down that you have. Because this has been a repeat problem. It's like on abortion. I am in line with Trump's view on the issue. I'm pro-choice, but I believe that there is a hard cutoff there, unless a woman is going to die, inevitably, if she doesn't have one, for rape or incest or something like that. I believe in that strongly. I believe that up until then, a woman should have the right to choose. I know some of you disagree with me on that issue. But the Republican Party took what was a winning issue, where they had been handed victory on a silver platter, with Ralph Northam and his nonsense with the third trimester abortions there that would be applicable in Virginia. In the state of Vermont, same thing. Roe v. Wade ends and they immediately start acting up. You're handed a victory, and you could take the message to the American people and say, okay, we campaigned on this as a states issue. We're going to continue to do so. We're going to encourage states to fall in line with the basic premise that we've got in mind. But there's not going to be a national abortion ban or anything like that. And even Lindsey Graham didn't actually suggest an outright ban, but it was cast off that way. Perception means more than reality within a socio-political context. What the public perceives is the reality. It doesn't matter if it's really real. That's why they throw propaganda at Trump all the time. They're hoping that people will just blindly believe it and not look into it further, and most people don't have the time to do so. IVF was not seriously hazarded, and they covered it up with a separate bill in the wake of the decision in Alabama there. But by God, you need to improve the messaging. You need to, number one, you need to preempt the far left. Number two, you need to not make dumb decisions. But they're Republicans, so I suppose that's fucking too much to ask. And the Bishops' Conference is decrying it, saying, oh my God, they're going to kill the embryos. Well, yeah, I mean, if you get a bunch of frozen embryos, at some point they die, absolutely. Well, who cares? Is that any different than a miscarriage? No, it's beyond a miscarriage. It's a tiny, a four-celled fetus died. I'm very sad for you. Steve H. Clank, I just bought some biltong from Anton's. It's amazing. Yeah, the Carbonasi is great. The Angus is great. The Wagyu is great. The bison is great. The sausages, the little pre-rolled snacks there. I've still got the steak ones in the freezer. I'll be eating those sometime soon. Dat Pie over there. Haiti is becoming the ultimate PvP zone. Do you think some NIMBY Libs flesh would taste like it was marinated in IPA and 18 herbs and spices? NIMBY liberal flesh, yeah, marinated in IPA I can see, but I don't think there'd be any herbs and spices in it. I think it'd be rather bland. Maybe topped with mayonnaise. Matthew Hammond. What should we call people that are here illegally? Illegal aliens, criminal aliens, or something else? Just use the term illegals. They're illegally in the country. The illegal immigrant works perfectly fine. I don't understand why Joe Biden's messaging is so poor on the issue. I mean, he's had some foibles before, but this one with Lake and Riley, it really takes the cake. Senor Faces. Haiti wasn't great already due to Sticks Fumo scarcity. Yeah, I mean, if you set up shop in Haiti and you can pay the armed guards that you'll need, then you could probably make quite a killing. You know, providing basic goods and services there, you wouldn't have any competition at this point. BWOO. By the way, I'm the same BW that comments on YouTube. It's just Rumble doesn't fuck with your words and ban everything like YouTube does, and I pay enough to Google. You can call me BW. Excellent. Swamp Donkey. States shouldn't even listen to the alphabet agencies and BS courts. As stated before, red states should simply ignore them and use their state power. Yeah, but then they've got to litigate, and the taxpayers have to fund the litigation. They can, and sometimes they win, but it can be a hard sell. Webster's Wares. Good morning, clankers from Endicott, Washington, deep behind enemy lines. Free shipping using code STIX at checkout. STIX merch pre-orders begin Friday at www.websterswares.com/STIX-wares. Yes, indeed. Heritage Heirloom Seed Company. The winner of the free seed bucket for February 2024 is N. Medberry. He will be receiving his prize in the next few days. Thank you to all who purchased. Excellent. Congratulations to Medberry. I would say Mr. or Mrs., but I don't want to presume anyone's pronouns. Probably get banned for that now. Ryan McDonald, USA. Keep an eye out on your crypto sticks. It's a pumpin'. Yeah, I know. I like making money out of thin air. Dan Malone, 53. Difference between intuition versus perception. Mass formation disregards the first two concepts. Interesting. Yeah, to perceive versus to intuit. I don't know exactly. I don't know if I can define that. I like undefinables, by the way. By the way, I wanted to show something off. I'm going to be doing a shout-out video anyway, and this will be part of it, but I've got some Dragon's Breath here. Yeah, that'll light the target on fire, so now I've got to buy a 12-gauge shotgun. Yeah, it's like a fireball. That's the whole point. So you can cook your food when you shoot it. You don't want to use it for home defense, though. Portugal's election leaves the country uncertain of its future, but heartens Europe's radical right. Now, if you look at the rise of CHEGA, or Enough Party, in Portugal, they went from 12 seats to 48 seats over the course of only a couple short years. So they are now a major party within Portugal. Depending on who you ask, they're either a centrist party, a center-right party, or a far-right party. Here's a cue. Virtually every time that a person or an organization or a political front is labeled far-right, they're not far-right. So when I see a bunch of legacy media calling CHEGA far-right, I say, okay, well, then they're probably like centrist party or something like that. Oh, my God, they believe in kicking out people that are illegally in the country and they don't want to raise taxes or something like that. You look at the party's platform, it is not particularly far-right. This would be considered a common sense party platform in 1984, for example. But we've gotten to the point where the legacy media, big tech, etc., and the entrenched political institutions all over the world, not just in the Western Bloc, hell, fucking look at China, have veered off so far into far-left la-la land that groups that are simply proposing a basic populism are still labeled as though they were Mussolini's fascists. That's not reality. Congratulations to them for a huge victory, by the way. The problem is that it appears that no singular party is going to be able to form a working coalition in Portugal. And by the way, in a nation like Portugal that tends to lean fairly left on an economic scale, if not a moral or social scale. Of course, you've got the Catholic moralism and stuff there, of course, too. If CHEGA can come in a decent heading there and become one of the largest parties, and Javier Milei can overthrow the old school Peronists in Argentina, and it looks like Brazil is going to lurch back to the right. That's depending on shenanigans. And it looks like the United States, that has been veering off more and more towards the so-called progressive side, may re-elect Trump for a second non-consecutive term, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then it shows that we have hope. We have hope in dealing with the socialists and hopefully brushing them aside and ponying them on their happy way out to the funny farm where they belong. If this can happen in Portugal, of all places, fuck, I don't know. There aren't many nations that are further left than that in the Western Bloc, now are there? I think it's a wonderful thing. 53-year-old police officer Isabel Fernandez says she felt apprehension because some of the parties that elected many lawmakers have ideas that go against fundamental rights, especially of women. Yes, okay, quite clearly you're going to end up barefoot and in the kitchen because somebody wanted to lower your taxes. I see a lot of this. In this article's link in the description, archived, of course, is full of it. The idea is that because it's not a socialist party, that it's far right. That's basically the sum and substance of the cant of this particular article. Among Ventura's invited guests in recent years were Matteo Salvini, Italy's deputy prime minister and head of the populist right-wing League Party, French far-right leader Marine Le Pen. By the way, she is economically not on the right. She's almost closer to a national socialist, actually. And the leader of neighboring Spain's far-right Vox party, Santiago Abascal. Yeah, they're terribly right-wing. They basically want a mild restoration, much like Trump wants, to a previous incarnation of government that worked better. That's basically your far right today. Oh my God, do you want a more free expression? People to defend themselves and not to be overrun in your own country. Basically Nazis now, aren't they? I find it funny. I find it funny, but I find it sad too at the same time. Zaria439 is now a monthly supporter over on Rumble. Thank you very much, Zaria. FOMO82, real question. When exactly, in your opinion, does an abortion become abhorrent? When exactly does a baby become a baby? How do you determine viability when technology is always making that younger? Period of viability. What are the youngest babies that are viable and don't suffer and die after a week or something like that? The cutoff is definitely shrinking. And that's a good thing, by the way. It means that you have greater, lower infant mortality, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's a good thing. If we could get to the point where a 3-month-old baby was actually a baby and wouldn't automatically die if there was a C-section or something, then I'd say that would be the cutoff. Then after that, you can have a C-section or whatever other methodology you want. Up until that period of viability, which currently is within the 2nd trimester, I believe abortion should be remain safe and legal. I do hope it's rare, but things happen. Shit happens. Sometimes there's a rape. You know, 2 15-year-olds screw, and they're being dumb. They don't use protection. Somebody gets knocked up. The girl's not able to take care of the child. The dude is still in fucking high school. He's not going to be able to go out, get a job, make his way in life. I don't believe in ruining their lives. I can't possibly wrap my head around supporting such a concept. If you end up with technology that can increase the period of viability, you can adjust the law then. Right now, 14 weeks is pretty much the hard cutoff that most of the civilized world works with. And I agree with that. I think that abortion should remain legal. I know that there are some people that don't agree with that. That's your opinion. I've got mine. Dan Malone 53. Oh, I already read that one. Ellen Tenaz. I wonder what this was the Clintons' whole frazzle with Haiti. I hope it wasn't the drip. That is actually fake, thankfully. Much like with that one where you had supposedly, what's his name? The dude that's going to become the new climate czar, Podesta, I call him. And supposedly it was John Podesta with a kid locked in the shower, and he was poking him with a broom and saying, "Call me Pa. I'm not Skippy, you call me Pa." And thankfully, that's not real. It was just creepily made, and I'm not sure who made it or exactly why. Rapture Farms, I love you, Mrs. Rapture Farm. Clank, thank you very much. Chris Menal, hey Sticks, can I get a shout out for my vocal covers channel on Rumble? Yes, Vocal Zone covers where I sing a range of great tracks in different styles of music. I'm looking to gain some more followers. Okay, you can go over to Vocal Zone on Rumble, and there's a shout out for you. Losivart, Sticks, help me. I spent all my money on biltong, and now I'm too fat to leave the house. What should I do? Well, the biltong can be delivered, so, you know, you just have to have someone carry it inside. I would just keep eating it. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have some Angus later. I love the inclusion of nutmeg within the Angus sticks, by the way. Those are, they're on a different level. They're really great. Haiti is collapsing. It's not just barbecue that's, sorry, I can't say his nickname without laughing. It's not just barbecue, a.k.a. the modern black version of Long John Silver, running roughshod over the cops and the guardsmen that are attempting to restore order in Haiti. There are a number of gangs you see. They're fighting each other. They're fighting the cops. They're fighting the soldiers. Haiti basically no longer has a singular functioning government. The nation has effectively collapsed. But Thankfully, it's not the first time that's happened in recent history. It's basically been given a lifeline by groups like the Clinton Foundation and the Red Cross that never built any of the houses that they promised to build. They siphoned hundreds of billions of dollars, and they apparently accomplished absolutely nothing. Not that I'm surprised. That's how NGOs typically work. Haiti is fast descending into anarchy. Over the weekend, the violence in the capital, Port-au-Prince, ramped up once again. Heavily armed gangs attacked the National Palace and set part of the Interior Ministry on fire with petrol bombs. You'll know them as Molotov cocktails. It comes after a sustained attack on the international airport, which remains closed to all flights, including one carrying Prime Minister Ariel Henry. Yes, the Prime Minister apparently is currently in exile. He tried to fly back to Haiti from the United States last week, but his plane was refused permission to land. He was then turned away from neighboring Dominican Republic too, although they did open their airspace to evacuate U.S. embassy staff, so good on them. Mr. Henry is now stuck in Puerto Rico, unable to set foot in the nation he ostensibly leads. Among those who did manage to get into the stricken Caribbean nation, though, was a group of U.S. military personnel. Yes, the fucking Marines showed up to evacuate part of the embassy because there weren't enough Marines there to guard it. I mean, it was indefensible. So they said, oh, we're going to need reinforcements. They are very lucky that the Dominican Republic granted a rare request, by the way, to use their airspace to land. Apparently, they have generally a problem with doing so. Yes, it's like, come on. Joe Biden calls it, come on, man. We need to get our staff out and stuff. We're sending some crayon eaters. And they're like, okay, well, we don't want to fuck with the Marines. So, you know, I would point out that the half dozen Marines there probably have more firepower than all the gangs in Haiti. So I wouldn't be too worried if I was in the embassy staff. Anyway, Haiti is gone. It doesn't exist anymore. I just wanted to point that out, to point to the direness of the situation. Effectively, you have a country that no longer exists. What government? Their prime minister can't even get into the country. You're gonna have a military overthrow by Barbecue or one of these other people. Cannibalism has begun breaking out. There's no availability of food. People are literally eating each other in Haiti. People have sent me footage from, and it's recent footage, so this isn't from right after the earthquake or something. People have resorted to cannibalism. It's like a tropical version of the Donner Party at this point. It's rather sad. Their economy has been non-functional now for the better part of a decade, since 2010, actually. They had the earthquake there. It leveled something like 30% of the structures in their capital, and they flatlined. The economy was gone. The government effectively collapsed. Clintons came in, along with the Red Cross, pledged to help, and, you know, here we are 14 years later. I wonder why the situation's still fucked. Jack Handy. What's the difference between Jesus and a Mexican? Jesus doesn't have a Mexican tattoo. I get the insinuation. I will say no more. X. We are still in the tail end of the most recent ice age. Why would we go back into a deeper form of it again? Well, I mean, if you have too much carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, the plants might grow faster, reabsorb it, and you end up with a more sparse atmosphere. It's possible. There are multiple competing theories. Shelly Babe, Sticks, did you see interview Tucker with Alex Jones? No, I didn't, actually. I didn't know he interviewed him. Mike the Wapo, I'd like to suggest everyone the live Big Bear Bald Eagle Nest cam on YouTube. Sounds cool. My mom would probably like that. She likes watching the Yellowstone live cam. Sigilstone, the earliest a baby has been born and survived is like 13 weeks or something ridiculously low like that. Progressives would scream bloody fucking murder if you base an abortion ban off that. 13 weeks would be pretty close, although I think it's 14 actually. And that would be like a 1 in a million chance. Leave it at like 14 to 16. That's sort of the sweet spot. Exception if a woman's going to die because, you know, I'm not going to consign somebody to death because they... the state decided they weren't allowed to have an abortion that they physically needed, or for rape or something like that. You were chained up in a basement for 15 weeks. I don't think we should penalize somebody for going through such a thing. But I do not believe in late-term abortion. I can't. It's abhorrent. Because at that point, there is personhood. It is a living thing. It's capable of surviving outside of the womb. I used to be even more liberal on this issue. I've become a conservative, supposedly. Sigilstone, I just want to grill. Gets real goddamn sinister when a big-ass Haitian named Barbecue says it to you. Yeah, barbecue for capping. Arr, matey. King of Biltong, good morning from Anton's Meat and Eat. We needed to change it up. Free shipping for your biltong using code STICKS on www.biltongusa.com and www.antonsusa.com. Thanks to Scott for visiting us in store. Hashtag Clank Nation. Yes, you should get some biltong if you have not tried it. I promise you, it is definitely worth its price. It's delicious, especially the bison. I'll always like the bison best, but the Carbonaci and Angus sticks are more convenient because I do a lot of outdoor work and I don't want to carry around a pocket full of shredded beef or something like that. BW, meanwhile in the US, a bunch of leftoids and Dems and rhinos are looking at Haiti and spanking the monkey, wishing that was happening here. God, I hate them. Yeah, I mean, think of the Summer of Love riots, but it's the entire country, and there's also cannibalism. That's basically the situation. And when the main political opposition is a gang leader called Barbecue, you know, you're going to have a good time. 5.56 millimeter, so you can kick a pregnant woman in the stomach and it's not murder if her dead fetus is only 10 weeks. Is it a life or not? It's a life, absolutely. Is there personhood? No. I would say in that case, it's a case where the woman didn't want to have the fetus kicked out of her stomach. That's the agency up until the point of viability. Liz's Bull, I'm so ugly, children, bring me candy on Halloween. Goodness. Yeah, I know that feel. Only I don't eat candy, so, you know, give me a razor blade apple or something like that. Now, this is an interesting news story. There's going to be some nuance here. My professor failed me because I didn't embrace DEI. Women must fight to exist. This Women's History Month, DEI threatens to erase our past and future. Yes, indeed, by blurring the lines between the two genders, you are effectively erasing women. You're allowing men to do what is natural, which is outcompete them in sports, perv on them, etc., etc. I am not happy about this trajectory. I feel nothing but sympathy for someone who genuinely has gender dysphoria and is taking hormones just to feel normal and comfortable in their skin and stuff. And I've known people like that. And I know they're not perving on kids or doing anything like that. They just genuinely, mentally speaking, they feel that they're of the other gender. And so I'm aware of that. And if they wanted to use whichever bathroom they wanted or something like that, I don't have a problem with it. Years ago, though, I pointed out in a video what the real problem was that you were going to have people that take advantage of that largesse, take advantage of that attempt for, letting people take care of their own business. Like, again, I don't give a shit if somebody wants to wear a skirt or blue jeans. It doesn't matter to me. There would be people, though, that would take advantage of that who aren't even genuinely transgender. So they're not going to the girls' locker room because they feel like a girl. They're going to the girls' locker room to perv on girls. And indeed, my prediction came true. I think I made that 7 or 8 years ago when this first became a more mainline issue. That is indeed what is at least somewhat happening. With regards to women, I believe in upholding them. I'm no MRA or anything like that. I believe in women's rights. I think that women are cool, and it's because I'm straight. You know, what else can I say? And I've always gotten along with women, and the story writes itself. Okay, I was a high schooler once and shit. You like girls, or you don't. It's just sort of a thing. This particular article, though, is slightly inapplicable, and here's the nuance here. You're talking about DEI being involved with a gender studies course. This is at the University of Cincinnati. This was from Olivia Krolzik, again, as I pointed out earlier. As a student at the University of Cincinnati, my gender studies class professor gave me a failing grade on a project proposal for using the term biological woman. Who knew that stating the truth is unacceptable in today's institutions of higher learning, places that once dedicated themselves to discovering truth? I would point out that they also dedicated themselves to eugenics back in the day, so there's always been some wonkiness in the educational system. The problem is you took a gender studies course and you expected it not to be woke. Who the hell is going to lead the gender studies course? It's going to be someone who's woke. At the very, if they're conservative, then they're a third wave feminist. I suppose that was what you expected, like a J.K. Rowling. These days, the times they are changing. Unless it is absolutely required that you take woke courses, you probably shouldn't bother to sign up because something like this might happen. And this is exactly the same situation. It's like J.K. Rowling. So she's far left economically. She's a third wave feminist. She's very, very woke. She's LGBTQ plus positive, etc., etc., etc. She simply says that women exist and she gets shit on for it. She's a leftoid, a far leftoid, and a nimbius. She lives in a literal fucking castle in France, by the way, in case you didn't know that. She's probably got several other castles under her belt also. Considering that she's one of the most wealthy women in the world, she can swing it. I notice there are no migrants living in her chateau. But even that's not far left enough. Being a nimbiest third waver is no longer enough. You got to expect if you go to a gender studies course, you're going to get shit on. If you should acknowledge the existence of dichotomous gender, which is a thing. Gender is dichotomous. You are either male or female. Your identity can be whatever you want. And I don't really give a fuck. I'm not a moralist, and I don't care how you dress, who you fuck, or how you fuck them, as long as it's all consensual and doesn't involve dog rape or parrot rape. We talked about that the other day, or something like that. I just can't bring myself to care. I'm not a moralist. But there are two genders. That's just the long and short of it. While I don't agree with failing someone for pointing out the obvious truth, therefore, you did go to a woke course. So you had to know kind of what you were signing up for. Just ignore the gender studies, women's studies, and all of the other woke courses, and you'll be just fucking fine. Cheese. Joe Biden versus barbecue duel. Who wins? Barbecue looks stacked, actually. Yeah, again, he probably does cook a literal mean barbecue. It's just that it's human flesh that he's cooking. Mr. Bird, this barbecue guy sounds like a RuneScape NPC. Yeah, they should jerry-rig him into something like that. That'd be funny. Somebody make a video game about a Haitian drug lord named Barbecue, and the whole goal is just to kill hordes of people that are trying to rush your compound or something. Mike the Wop, I proposed the idea with a beer at the bar recently, what abortion would be like if our species laid eggs instead of live birth. Well, yeah, but then you could, cook and eat, you could have some good omelets. Helios ending. I applaud men and women's sports. When the rules are a joke, the abuse is the punchline. Scarfy the Strange. Tolerance for abortion is proportional to tolerance for dealing with milings. Julian Fuentes. By your calculations, how many immigrants can the U.S. take for it to be beneficial versus detrimental? My left friend says 5 million, but she's a clown. I believe strongly in legal immigration. Limited, of course, in a meritocratic system. Perfectly fine. We've been doing that the whole inception of the United States. The problem right now is that most of it is illegal immigration. It's totally uncontrolled, off the charts, and it's becoming even bigger a problem year by year. That's the problem. I think we should have zero illegal immigration. It will never happen, but that should be the goal we strive towards. Build the fucking wall, guard the fucking border with phalanx systems if you have to, double the amount of staff down there, and deny everyone entry. You're not allowed to walk across the border. Believe it or not, we've got a system for coming in. You can go to a border station, which will be well guarded. You can fill out paperwork and say, hey, I'm seeking asylum. Or, hey, I want to become an American citizen. I've got my degree, and here's where I was born and stuff, and I would like to start the process to become a legal resident of the United States. And you submit all of your data and stuff, and you can prove who you are. No problem with that whatsoever. We should expedite that process and make it more streamlined and cheap so that more people could go in that route. But I don't want anyone in the country illegally. No, absolutely not. It doesn't make any, no other sane country in the world allows the situation that's happening currently on our southern border. Moot the Cat, Maytag Blue Cheese, love sticks. Blue cheese is pretty good. I like the Dana Blue. The Danish do it best. You can get that when I'm back in the Netherlands. Definitely going to get some fucking Dana Blue. That's nice and sharp. Oh, it has this really, really moldy, grungy flavor, and it's not as soft too. And I just love it. Blue cheese is an acquired taste. As a kid, I thought the idea was abhorrent, but now kind of like it. Sigil Stone. I hate DEI because it's commie bullshit, but I love that it takes away women's rights. Ooh, what to do. Yeah, there's an old meme about that I can't actually state on a YouTube live stream, by the way. Lord of the Ree. Hey, Sticks, my cover of Free Fallin' has almost 1.5k views here on Rumble. You can check it out as well as my own music at Long Walks Music on Rumble, YouTube, and Bandcamp. Long Walks Music. It's adequate. Sounds pretty cool. Iceman Scott. I met Anton yesterday over in Roanoke. He and his team seem like good people. Yeah, I mean, they set me up well with the good shit. Pumpkin Fire Crafts, good morning, clankers. Photographing acacia wood spoons as we speak. Ooh, that sounds good. And prepping more regular spoons right after. If anyone has any ideas they would like to see, feel free to message me. Thank you for that. Yeah, that sounds cool. Acacia wood spoon. Maybe you make like the big ass ones for like, serving chili and soups and stuff like that. Those are always fun. FOMO82. 21 weeks is earliest so far. Would 14-week law be updated along with science as viability improves? My question, why would global elites want to keep more babies alive when the rest of their plan seems to be depopulate? I don't think they want babies alive. I think they want everyone to be slaves, actually. So it doesn't really matter what the population is if everyone is your golem, your servant. But yeah, 14-week law would be updated. If you can push that down, yeah, absolutely, that'd be perfectly fine with me. It's just if there's no viability, then, why put upon someone? Next news story. Woolly mammoth return moves a step closer. Tech and Silence Daily Podcast. All the stories from Thursday's episode of the Tech and Science Daily Podcast. Colossal Biosciences, a biotech company based in the U.S. planning to bring extinct animals, including the woolly mammoth, back from extinction, has just passed a major technical milestone in their de-extinction project. We'll get into the concept of de-extinction in a moment. Experts at the organization have developed an elephant-induced pluripotent stem cell, or iPSC, a single cell that can breed or propagate indefinitely, which can help to produce any other cell in the body. This is different from some other stem cells. They are not pluripotent, so they can branch out into certain cell lineages, but not all of them. Developing this is a big step in the right direction if you want de-extinction. The problem it comes attendant with is the possibility of genetic defects in cancer, so they're going to have to figure it out more. But it is a major step, and that's great. That's interesting. It has nothing to do with the rest of the article. Researchers in Scotland have identified a switch that plays a role in controlling anxiety in both humans and mice. I think that's an advertisement that for some reason doesn't actually have a thing around it to show that it's not part of the general article. Genes have to be switched on in the right cells and at the right times to ensure good health. When they're not turned on correctly, it can contribute to conditions like anxiety, depression, and addiction. And so actually part of this is actually about that switch. That's very interesting. So only the first few paragraphs actually matter, I suppose. This is a big step, and I'm hoping that I live long enough to see a real-life woolly mammoth. I realize, and some people message me about this, well, it's not actually a woolly mammoth, Sticks. It's basically an elephant that's been genetically modified. Okay, I understand that. But you've come as close as you can, and you do have genetic sequencing from frozen mammoth remains. It's as close to an actual woolly mammoth as you can get. You can regress their genetic lineage and create them. We have conditions on the planet today so that woolly mammoths could roam around in the coniferous forests of the far north and possibly some southern latitudes, up in the Urals in Siberia, certainly places like Alaska in Canada, possibly in Scandinavia, so over in Kamchatka and so forth on the Pacific coast. It would be possible to do so. They would be capable of surviving. The problem that I have with de-extinction, which generally I support, I want to bring back the cave bear, the dire wolf, the giant sloth, the woolly mammoth, the mastodon, all of those sort of Pleistocene creatures. The saber-toothed tiger, damn right I want a pet saber-toothed tiger. Again, so do you. You want a pet T-Rex, you just won't admit it. The problem is that if you're going to bring them back, you got to do so in batches. To do so, you're going to have lots of surrogates. There aren't a lot of elephants left in the world now, are there? I think you'd be better off programming for the dire wolf first, because there are plenty of wolves in the world. They're not an endangered species. Threatened locally in some areas. They've been extincted in Vermont for a while, but they're fairly common. I think that the dire wolf would be a first step, and it would be easier. And also, when extinct, I think more recently, if I remember correctly. I know that there were woolly mammoths when Rome was at its height in a few northern islands in what's now Russia. I can't remember when the dire wolf went extinct. But again, you've got plenty of remains. You've got plenty of genetic material. I would prioritize them, even the cave bear or something like that. Also, they're talking about de-extincting the dodo. They've got a recent common ancestor they can use as a surrogate. It's threatened, but there are enough of them, so you can bring back the dodo. They'll probably quickly become extinct again because supposedly they were very, very, very averse to caring about tack. They were slow and stupid, and they apparently tasted delicious. So we'll see what happens with the dodo. I have a feeling that the natives of the islands that they put them on will use them for a barbecue. Why don't you introduce them to Haiti? Also, the great auk and a few others. The Tasmanian tiger, you've got full-on preserved specimens. You've got the genetics that you would need for that. I'm not sure what you would use as a surrogate for it. I don't know if there's any ancestor of the Tasmanian tiger that actually would be able to genetically carry them to term. You could use an artificial womb, I suppose, grow a Tasmanian tiger womb in the lab, but then how do you have a creature to imprint upon it to actually teach it what it needs to know? I guess I'll have to use humans in costumes. I'll have to get some Therians on that one, I suppose. That's apparently a new thing. Joshua Bryson, I'm surprised Democrats didn't reach out to Laken Riley's family after the SOTU and ask them to change her name post to Lincoln. Yeah, that was a big problem. We made our main video this morning on that topic for a reason. Biden really fucked up with that one. It's not just Fox or the right-wing media that's complaining about his moves on that one. The Emperor's Champion. Mammoth ranching would be lucrative business. Then we can have mammoth biltong. Yummy. Yeah, we'll buy Anton a mammoth, and we'll get that going. Musically assured destruction. Is Speaker Johnson doing a good job, or is he just McCarthy light? Also, are Gates and MTG embarrassing their party, or are they trying to make a change? Gates and MTG largely are good. I prefer the Boberts of the party, although it doesn't look like she's going to get reelected, sadly, though she deserves it. She changed districts. Johnson is better than McCarthy. He's not doing necessarily a great job, but it's better. It's better than what you had before, and any marginal improvement is still an improvement. Rogue Runner. Truly began to save my life from drugs, mental illness, and homelessness on March 9th. Thank you for your influence on me. We'll keep you updated. Yes, keep off the fucking drugs. Calm the hell down. Take it easy, man. Get your life back in order and do some good work. Develop some habits that become obsessions. Take one of your skills and turn it into an obsession. Try to make that your work. And if at first you don't succeed, don't worry, try and try again. You're probably, I know you're probably young enough to continue that indefinitely. It's all good. Liz's Big Black Bull. Yeah, McCuck felt weird at first, but I like it. Thank you for the $2. You should pay more if you're going to try to troll me, by the way. At some point, I might cut you off like a drunken person at the bar and say, you belly up to the bar a little bit further and bribe me. Mike the Wapo, oh, there used to be a parrot species on the American East Coast. Died out from human hunting, I think. Did you know that there are parrots living wild in the Netherlands, actually? Yeah, some parrots got released accidentally from, I guess, a zoo or something like that. I've seen them before. When I first saw it, I thought I was losing my marbles. I mean, this is a tropical bird living in northwestern Europe, but it's actually there's a breeding species there. I can't remember exactly which one they were. I think they were green. I was like, what the fuck? Am I hallucinating? Did I accidentally ingest an edible or something? Holy shit, those brownies are hitting too hard today. I thought that was funny as hell. Pumpkin Fire Crafts. I'll see what larger wooden spoons I can find. That would be fun. Sigil Stone, a stem cell that can spread and grow indefinitely. Okay, that's a fucking disease. That is cancer. That is science gone wrong. This is the beginning of an apocalypse movie shit. Yes, it can branch out indefinitely, but you realize that when you are first born, you're full of stem cells. They have to branch out into the different organs and tissues and so forth. It's actually not prescribed cancer. It's just that we haven't learned quite how to control that replication to prevent it from becoming cancerous. That's the holy grail, by the way, of multiple health studies. BW, one more. I disagree with you on the dinosaurs, Sticks. They went extinct because they were too big to support. Mother Nature knew what she was doing there. Yeah, but velociraptors were only like 2 feet tall. They don't take much maintenance. Some of the smaller ones, bring back the Ankylosaurus. I like that one. The one with the club tail and the spines along its side. My favorite, though, as a kid was the Triceratops. That one's more on the order of the size of an elephant, though. So, yeah, that might be a hard sell. I liked Triceratops best as a kid. I also liked, what the fuck was it called? I like Brontosaurus, of course. Allosaurus, really. And T-Rex and all the other basic bitch dinosaurs. There was one that I really liked. What the fuck was it called? It was like a miniaturized version of the T-Rex. I can't remember exactly what it was called. It was like the T-Rex Lite or something. Diana Rikus, I like that one. Bring them all back. Yeah, baby. FOMO82, thank you for your answers. I believe in personhood, to use your term, although I would not use at conception. Maybe your opinion will continue to develop. One can hope. Peace. Yeah, I mean, you can make that argument. It's just pragmatically speaking. You know, you have to use pragmatism in governments and in governance. And I don't want the government to be able to imprison a woman for, you know, having a miscarriage or something like that. I don't believe in that level of state power. Final news story. Campus garden initiatives can help grow the next generation of environmental change makers. Here's the good and the bad. And please send no more super chats because we're running up on an hour. And I want to go and eat and do other things. Maybe play around in the fucking profuse snow out there. The good. You've got more campus garden initiatives. You're teaching kids. Well, I'm old enough now that I can call 20-somethings kids. I'm 36 goddamn years old. If you're 19 or 20, to me, you're a kid at this point. So teaching kids how to grow things is good. Teaching them how to build up the soil, farm worms, make their own crops and stuff. I support that completely. I think that there should be 10 times as many gardening initiatives. Everyone should be gardening. Hell, you have a little micro flat on the 3rd floor. You can at least have a few plants indoors with a grow lamp. That's the name of the game. If you have property, you should turn as much into it as a garden as possible. I'm going to be massively expanding the garden out back. And by the way, it does appear that the biochar charge stratum does work well. I'll probably be giving an update tomorrow or maybe on Wednesday. Here's the bad part. The bad part is teaching them that this sort of thing is necessary to save the world from climate disaster. No, what you should be doing is focusing on, hey, you can lower the cost of food. It's fun. It's great. It's good physical activity. People need more exercise. By the way, you know, that food, you can give it to a food shelf if you don't want it yourself. Maybe you're a meat totaler and you never eat vegetables. Well, you know, donate it to the poor or something. There's no reason for anyone to go hungry. Do you realize how much acreage in the United States alone is taken up by housing authority controlled monoculture lawns, where you have to fertilize it, water it, and then mow it every single day, pretty much, in order to keep it in the housing authority's terms? I think we should scrap that, and we should pass a law that anyone who wants to can garden where they want to on their property, front yard or backyard, no regulation whatsoever, as long as it's organic, and housing authorities can't say dick about it. I think that would be a good first step. You're worried about pollinators dying. Well, yeah, I mean, go to suburbia. You're not going to see many flowers. You'll see a couple of little planters out on the front stoop or something. They're not allowed to do anything else. Do you realize how much food we could grow? Those little city lots, a quarter acre or something like that, you can actually grow a lot of food on a quarter acre of property. I mean, a massive number. I mean, this garden will probably be about a quarter acre in size when it's expanded. Do you realize how much okra you can grow on that area of land with relatively little financial input? All you got to do is put in some raised beds and build up the soil a bit. It'll maintain itself after a while if you're using biochar. You know, I was doing hugelkulture. I was raking up one of the beds the other day and repairing it. And there was still a huge amount of fertility in the soil. Do you know how I achieved that? Despite the fact that it was fallow for 5 years, it wasn't being used. All I did was bury wood in the soil. That's all I did. The already improved soil slowly leached the wood away. It slowly rots and decomposes into the surrounding stratum. It helps to balance moisture. It's called hugelkulture. It's not a true hugelkulture, but the same basic premise remains in sway. Teach kids hugelkulture. You're worried about carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Teach them about biochar. I made 350 pounds of charcoal this year alone. That would otherwise be in the atmosphere as CO2, but I'm going to pump it into the soil, and much of it will still be there when I die. My body will rot away and be nothing more than dusty bones before that charcoal is out of the soil. It doesn't matter if you pulverize it, it'll still be in the goddamn soil, unless it erodes. If you're doing mechanical farming, it lasts 10, 20 years. If you're doing non-mechanical farming, like backyard gardening or something like that, it'll last longer than you can live. You start at 20, you live to be 100 years old. Some of that biochar will still be there. And you can do it infinitely. And it's cheap. A cord of wood ain't that expensive, even for the good shit. The seasoned hardwood that I got delivered was $350. And I made 350 pounds of biochar. That is a huge savings. I was looking up the goddamn prices of that, by the way. Make your own biochar if you can. You should make it in communities. People should pull together. Okay, you got one person in your neighborhood, they know how to make charcoal, they got land. Somebody else buys the wood and they have them charcoal it and you split the difference or something like that. Be easy. I'd love to do that shit. The Gunslinger. If they could make Jurassic Park dinos more deadly, why didn't they just make them more docile? That's a giant plot hole. Maybe we should do it. Yeah, if we can bring back dinosaurs, I'm in favor of it. I like science. I know. I'll start the apocalypse or something, some dinosaur disease. I don't think so. Supposedly, T-Rex is nothing more than a giant featherless chicken. I would really, really love to see if that's actually the case. I have a feeling that they are more lizard-like. I think that the whole birds or dinosaurs thing is slightly off-kilter. I think that there's a little bit of variety in there with dino species, by the way. Sauropods. Sigil Stone. Screw de-extinction. Let's make actual fire-breathing dragons and shit. If we deploy mad science, let's make fun stuff and create in real life Middle-earth. Then we can kill orcs for Gondor and stuff. Yes, you could literally create orcs with enough genetic experience. If you were capable of fully manipulating genetics and you had like a textbook capability of doing it very quickly, you could pretty much make everything. Yeah, you could bring back dinosaurs. They'd be artificial. They wouldn't be part of that original lineage, but genetically speaking, you're fixing for certain traits. You know how their bones look? They've got some tissue samples actually too. You can design these things. They would be artificial and artistic in nature. Some artistic license would apply, but you can effectively create them. It would be physically possible. I have a feeling we're about 20 years away from the technology to do so. It'd be harder for the larger species, though, because you have to create an artificial womb for anything for which there's not a modern-day living surrogate. Anyways, I've ranted about de-extinction enough. I thank you to the almost 5,500 people who watched live. I will be back tomorrow with more news. Today, a little bit of it was more on the humorous and flippant side. Maybe there'll be serious shit to cover tomorrow. The IVF case definitely falls under that category. So I'll be back. We'll have more news, but I've got to go eat some biltong and do 10,000 other things. And I'm thinking about randomly making and throwing snowballs at people or something like that because it's just fun to do. That's about all. Peace out.